CTV News with Sarah Freemark.
If they wanted infrastructure, it's in Innisfil. If you want more industry, go south. If you want rural, nice biking trails, nice cottages, go north.
Barrie's expanded plan is now facing some challenges, with the county and the people who live within it now weighing in. Good evening. It's not new that the city of Barrie is looking to expand employment and growth opportunities in neighboring townships. The controversial plan has been met with support from some businesses and municipal leaders, but not all. Tonight, the county is again sharing its thoughts on the new plan and what the cost might be to the residents outside of Barrie. Here's CTV's Luke Samard.
As the city of Barrie continues to grow, officials are working to expand city limits, attempting to acquire 4,300 acres of land, with most of it coming from spring water. Earlier this week, the city holding a public meeting about the annexation met with mixed emotions from residents.
I think Barrie is grabbing land for industrial purposes. They don't need to. We don't need growth that way. We need to be supporting our environment. We don't need more industry going into Lake Simcoe.
While others welcome the annexation for development purposes.
I have kids that live in my basement. They can't afford the housing, just like everybody else. We're all in the same boat. Unless people stand up and look for growth and look forward, it's not going to happen.
With the county of Simcoe weighing their concerns on the proposed annexation of the lands.
I guess the concern why and why the process has been rushed. Again, why has the mapping grown so large? Like, what's driving this need?
With the city now eyeing prime development lands between Highway 400 and Forbes Road. Land the county of Simcoe wanted as a future employment zone. The loss of this area would be massive, according to Warden Clark, taking future profit away from the county.
The funds that are critical to us when we're doing any of our economic development plans, like expanding the airport or creating jobs or bringing industry to the region.
With housing top of mind in the county, wondering why the city wants to buy undeveloped land.
Let's get Barrie some housing lands, and I believe they have short of shovel-ready employment lands, but the land they're looking at is not shovel-ready.
Something townships like Oromodonte are paying close attention to.
If we are going to have to give up land, which no municipality would like to, but we're here to do the betterment for the entire region. And, by that, let's build some houses and let's get them built there.
As the city and the county continue to work on a deal, townships around the region will be holding public engagement sessions to hear community concerns. The township of Springwater will be holding theirs tonight, October 1st, while the township of Oromodonte will hold theirs on October 15th. Luke Samard, CTV News, Oromodonte.
Now, Simcoe County's warning over Barrie's boundary push is certainly adding pressure at Barrie City Hall tonight, but that's not the only thing that Council will discuss. Let's go now to CTV's Jack Morris with more from what we can expect from the city. Jack.
Well, Sarah, as you said, there are a few different things going on, but of course, the biggest one, one of the biggest ones tonight, is going to be Barrie's controversial boundary review, looking to pick up lands from Springwater Township and Oromodonte. It's a move that's been drawing some criticism, including at this meeting Monday night. And now we know the price tag. According to the report, it'll cost about $40 million under the current plan for the city to take over those lands. Barrie's mayor says they need the land for industry, and the new tax base will quickly cover that cost. Also on the agenda tonight, the city is strengthening its public land use bylaws. Now this, as we come into the second month of Barrie's state of emergency to address homelessness, the new rules are intended to give bylaw enforcement more power to get people camping in public spaces out.
Our focus is to make sure that we're able to remove the tent as soon as we have the space available for the individual to go into help and support. And so through these bylaws, we're going to be able to be a bit more firm. We're going to be able to be a bit quicker than we've been, and certainly we're setting the standard and communicating it to the public as to what is expected in the city of Barrie, the level of expectation for those who are visiting here, and that we are going to make sure that Barrie's not a place where you can live in encampment on the side of the street in addiction.
Now, another thing the city will be talking about tonight is that they're applying to the provincial government for disaster assistance after last year's devastating ice storm. And those are the things we're tracking tonight. Sarah, back to you.
Okay, thanks for that, Jack. And we'll have a full recap on Council tonight on CTV News Barrie at 11. Meanwhile, striking Canada Post workers held a national day of action today.
The message is we're not backing down. We're making sure the Liberal government of Carney is aware. Our members, also the public, wants door-to-door delivery. The public post office is under attack. It's under attack by Carney circus, which I see as. We need public consultation. We need the public involved.
It comes after the federal government's proposed reforms to the Crown Corporation in an effort to stabilize finances and ensure the organization's survival. As this labor disruption lasts, no new mail will be processed or delivered. Time now for our first look at weather on this Wednesday. Looks nice, but how does it feel, Case?
Oh, it feels fantastic. It's autumn weather. For the time being, anyway. Let's take a look at the forecast because, things are always changing, aren't they, in a big way? Yeah, take a look right now. This is 18 degrees here in our beautiful garden. All part of First Weather, brought to you by our friends at the graveldrivewayguy.com, your local gravel driveway expert. Winds are light out of the northeast, 7 kilometers an hour, and the temperature outside your door as we speak right now looks like this: 18 degrees in the Sunshine City of Orillia and Gravenhurst, and it looks like 19 in Mount Forest. Is that the hot spot? Yeah, in Mount Forest and Parry Sound sitting at 19 degrees, 16 out Owen Soundway. A quick look, if you will. This is the radar satellite images. Nothing really to discuss of any active weather nature. Just a few meandering clouds. Gorgeous. Very still out here. Beautiful and still. And if you did find today a little on the cool side, Sarah, things are heating up in a summer-like fashion. I'll tell you when and for how long. All that coming up in a few minutes' time. Back inside.
We're about to get spoiled. Thanks, Case. Now, Remembrance Day is still more than a month away, but we're learning today about new cost-saving measures that could affect the look of Memorial Day at events right across the country. CTV's Abigail Beeman has the exclusive details.
In an era the Prime Minister describes as being about spend less, invest more, some are questioning whether Veterans and Remembrance Day wreaths are a worthwhile place to cut, while the Veterans Affairs Minister's office says this isn't about the spending review. Laying a wreath at cenotaphs and ceremonies across the country is a long-time tradition and a way to honor veterans at Remembrance Day. In an email obtained by CTV News, the Veterans Affairs Minister writes this year's Wreaths for Parliamentarians program will have a revised format. Each MP will receive 2 wreaths, and additional costs are the responsibility of the requester for those who want more. An order form pegs the cost at $115 a wreath plus shipping costs.
This is just absolutely the worst place I could imagine to try to save money. If that's what this is about. It's just a complete lack of respect.
For MPs in rural ridings, as many as 24 wreaths are needed for legions and cenotaphs across a large geographic area. The Conservative critic for Veterans Affairs says the government should be covering the cost.
It just seems sad that the government didn't think it was important to make sure that every single legion in the country has that wreath to be able to pay their respects to our veterans on Remembrance Day. And I think it's part of a sort of a troubling pattern that we see from this government.
CTV News asked the Veterans Affairs Minister's office a number of questions. Late Wednesday, a staff member said this is not about the government spending review, but that changes were made to more equitably distribute wreaths across different regions, and that the changes were meant to right-size the program, but wouldn't say what was wrong with it. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Premier Doug Ford responded to President Trump, reviving rhetoric about Canada becoming the 51st state.
And you know, President Trump's back at it again. This guy's too much. He's out there back on his 51st state. Again, I'm going to ignore him. I'm going to start focusing with our federal government what we can do to be more competitive.
These comments came as Ford hosted Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The two leaders stressed the importance of cross-border trade, particularly in the auto sector. Meanwhile, Trump made his remarks yesterday while speaking to a senior military commander group. A former Muskoka contractor already convicted of fraud was back in court this morning. CTV's Mike Arcelides reports.
Scotty Eisman, Scott Evan, yeah. His card actually just said Scotty.
A man known by many names, Scott Eisman, pleaded guilty to 6 counts of fraud and failing to comply with a release order while out on bail. Eisman, who is now 56, was accused of defrauding customers out of more than $360,000 to get permits, equipment, and renovations done on cottages and seasonal homes in Simcoe, Muskoka, and Parry Sound through his company, Cottage Life Construction.
The reason guys like this get away with it is because people are ashamed and embarrassed. And I went to the cops and they said, go away. And I went, what?
She says Bracebridge OPP investigators told her she didn't have enough evidence. Liz Saunders was out about $65,000 because of Eisman, who admitted to taking money from his customers starting in 2017.
Why wasn't it more public that this trade person was out there running again the same scams over and over again?
Eisman initially pleaded guilty to several counts last year, but asked the judge to strike his pleas, arguing he was improperly represented and counseled by his previous lawyer. Eisman was sentenced to 3 years behind bars last fall, but appealed the decision and was granted bail until he was picked up for violating his release conditions. Today, Eisman dropped his appeal, admitting he defrauded a customer out of $125,000.
6 years from now, it'll be 100 years
For
old.
customers like Saunders, that fraud was deeply personal and left her cottage that's been in her family for nearly 100 years in limbo and unsafe to use.
The scariest thing was he cut the ground wire, or the ground wire was cut. And when I said, "What is that?" he rolled it up and stuck it under the cottage and said, "Oh, don't worry about it, it's nothing."
Eisman has a lengthy criminal record that included 5 other fraud-related convictions. In 2012, he was accused of ripping off a 92-year-old woman and convinced the victim she needed home repairs, taking $138,000 from her. Justice Christopher Diana accepted Eisman's plea as part of a joint submission from the Crown and Defense, seeking 3.5 years in prison, telling Eisman these are not victimless crimes, describing the pain, shame, and humiliation Eisman's acts of deception and dishonesty caused his unsuspecting customers.
It's not just a question of the money. It's a question of, oh my God, how did I not see this?
As part of his sentence, Eisman is also ordered to pay restitution to his victims of more than $230,000. Mike Arsledy, CTV News, Aurelia.
Provincial police in Huronia West are investigating a fatal collision in Springwater Township. It happened just after 4 o'clock on County Road 27 and involved a motorcycle and a passenger vehicle. The motorcycle driver, a 36-year-old man from Springwater, was pronounced dead at the scene. At this time, the road remains closed. Meanwhile, OPP is investigating after a driver reportedly hit multiple other vehicles this morning. This happened between Orangeville and Shelburne in the area of Highway 10 and Highway 89. One person is now in custody. So Simcoe police are asking Bradford and Innisfil residents to join CamSafe.
Do you want to help play a pivotal role in a fast-moving investigation, such as a potential robbery?
The voluntary program lets police know where outdoor security cameras are located so they can request footage if a crime occurs. However, officers do not get direct access, only permission to contact camera owners. The goal is to speed up investigations and make communities safer, and registration is free. The province is investing over $2.6 million in new Tecumseth to upgrade critical local infrastructure. So this will go towards supporting projects like road repairs, bridge upgrades, and improvements to waste and water systems. Mayor Richard Norcross says the funding will help improve quality of life for residents and make the community more resilient. Ontario's minimum wage, it's now officially set at $17.60 an hour. That's an increase of 40 cents. However, some say it's still not enough to make ends meet.
It's technically a raise for people at the lowest wage levels, but unfortunately, there's still no place, even after the increase, where you can work a full-time minimum wage job and still be able to make ends meet. If you look at how far your dollar goes, that raise doesn't look so good anymore.
The province says about 36% of workers making the new minimum wage or less are in retail, and 23% are in accommodation and food services. The Ontario government kicked off its Level Up Career Fair today, connecting students, parents, and job seekers with in-demand careers in the skilled trades. The fair was held at ESSA Agriplex, and it featured interactive exhibitors and hands-on demonstrations, giving participants a chance to explore more than 140 trades, from electricians to heavy equipment operators.
They can come and ask questions, actually try hands-on experience with the trades. There's folks here that are going to have a hammer in their hand, a screwdriver in their hand. You can actually simulators for heavy equipment, as well as the Skills Ontario truck. So really hands-on experience. That's what we're here today doing, to provide exposure to that list of skilled trades, and because I don't think everyone's quite aware of how many options there are.
Now, the event is part of a province-wide tour across 12 communities running for 29 days until December 12th. It is expected to attract over 50,000 people as Ontario works to strengthen its skilled workforce. How about we shift to the ice? The Toronto Maple Leafs were at Bracebridge today with students from surrounding schools there to watch their idols. CTV's Rob Cooper brings us the highlights from the exclusive practice.
It was a morning that more than 800 students from Muskoka won't soon forget. An up-close look at a Toronto Maple Leafs practice right here at the Muskoka Lumber Community Centre in Bracebridge.
It's just really fun. I love the Leafs, the favorite hockey team. Just glad to be here today.
The Leafs have spent the past 2 days in Muskoka, part practice, part team bonding, but today was all about the fans, especially the young ones.
The stands are always filled with kids and people coming to watch, and it's awesome. The atmosphere is always a lot of fun. You know, coming here, and I think they enjoy it as well.
What they normally
so close
do.
to them, like seeing what they do when they're not like in actual games.
That I got to see them up close and sit really close to them.
The arena was at capacity, students from local schools filling the stands, phones out, snapping photos, and taking every moment in. Even the coaches could feel the energy.
It's just, I think it's really an important thing to get guys together like this, you know, not around the hockey side of stuff, and they can loosen up and have some fun. So it was a really good trip in my opinion.
They have like such a hard shot, and I'm pretty happy to get the opportunity to hang out with them or see them.
Now, after wrapping up a retreat here in Muskoka for the past couple of days, the players are now headed back to Toronto, where they will wrap up the preseason before kicking off the regular season with a game against Montreal. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Bracebridge.
And coming up, we continue to celebrate 70 years for CKVR. Jane Pritchard will join us in the studio, plus trading textbooks for tradition, how a local school built this stunning birch bark canoe, all part of an Indigenous skills trade program. And Powerful Gathering was by Barrie's Spirit Catcher as the community honored the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Those stories coming up, but first, a message from a former broadcaster here at CTV Barrie who's now made a living by embracing his green thumb.
70 years for CTV Barrie. I started back in 1994 in Bob's Garden, and really I got to do so many different things, from flying with the snowbirds to going to Disney, but my favorite memory of all time is just being in the garden with Bob. From that, it was my launching pad all the way to becoming a weatherman and really just following in his footsteps. So 70 years, congrats to everybody there.
Thanks for staying with us. Tuesday marked the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, and next to Barrie's Spirit Catcher, members and supporters of the local Indigenous community held their annual commemoration.
Today is about bringing up the past and recognizing it.
Wear orange shirt, anything orange. It's very important to remember.
The last residential school closed in 1998. We're definitely still feeling the effects through that intergenerational transfer of knowledge, and unfortunately a lot of that trauma does get passed through.
My grandmother, I believe, was a part of it, and my grandfather were part of the residential schools.
They went to school and they pretty much lost their lives, and we want to respect their lives.
This is part of that growth. This is part of the reconciliation part of it, that we just recognize and we understand that, you know, the wrongs that were done.
If you don't recognize the things that have gone wrong and been done wrong over the past number of decades and centuries, then unfortunately you're bound to repeat it going forward.
Give the community opportunity to put forth some reconciliation through those 94 calls to action. To date, I think there's only 9 that have been answered, so there's still a lot of work to do.
There were also Orange Shirt Day commemorations in Orillia, Bradford, Huntsville, and Muskoka Lakes, among other areas in our region. St. Dominic Catholic Secondary School is putting a new spin on shop class with an Indigenous skills trade program, and it all began by building a real working birch bark canoe. With help from master canoe builder Chuck Commanda, students got their hands dirty and their minds open as they spent 2 weeks learning the traditions, stories, and skills passed down through generations. It wasn't just about tools and technique. Indigenous teachers shared lessons in culture, community, and reconciliation, giving students a first experience that they'll likely never forget.
I was surprised at a lot of things, a lot of the different lessons that were learned. For me, the big one was patience and trust.
I like getting different experiences and stuff, so I definitely wanted to be a part of it.
It turned into something really beautiful by the end of it, and that was something that I thought was really interesting.
The birch bark canoe will stay on display at St. Dominic Catholic Secondary School for everyone to see and enjoy. Well, here's a way to put a smile on everyone's face in Simcoe County, and it all supports the Barrie Food Bank.
Today, we just received a donation of hygiene items.
Just open these boxes up.
Those items are very expensive, so sometimes we can just don't afford to buy those. So donations like these, they are very important for us.
We've got baby toothbrushes, kids toothbrushes, all the way to lots of boxes of adult toothbrushes here. We've got
Now in its second year, the Dental Hygiene Supply Drive collected over 1,700 items. Everything was donated through partnerships with local dental offices, all organized and picked up by a local student who has the ambition to be a dentist someday soon.
People hear food bank and they automatically think food, but this is the place where a lot of people come to get supplies like this. That's one of the reasons that I'm continuing to do this. Is we collected almost this amount last summer and they flew off the shelves in 2 months. So it's important to keep these donations coming in so people have access to these products.
Love that. The donations were dropped off this morning to support community members in need right across Simcoe County. And as we've been sharing, this week marks the 70th anniversary of CKVR, now CTV Barrie, and it's time to welcome a beloved former team member to the CTV studio. Welcome, Jane Pritchard.
Thank you, Sarah.
How does it feel to be back in the studio?
You know, in a way, it feels like I never left because everything is so the same, very familiar. And it's like, in a way, I never left.
We hear so many positive things about you, Jane, not only for those of us that come to the station and start working here, but out in the community as well. So for people that maybe aren't familiar, can you walk us through the different positions that you played a role in to end up anchoring?
Well, I guess I did 4 things over my 40 years here. I started off hosting a daily half-hour talk show without any experience or training. It was amazing how I got the job. It was actually, I have Bob McIntyre to thank because he interviewed me.
Yes.
And then he asked me to come back to do an on-camera audition. And he said, for the audition, you need to interview someone for 10 minutes. You can bring someone or you can interview me. And I felt so comfortable with him, I thought, well, I'll interview you. So I interviewed him for 10 minutes. Don't ask me what we talked about. It was all a blur 30 seconds after. And 2 weeks later, I was hired. Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather. It was so exciting, the thought of doing a talk show. And I interviewed so many interesting people over the years. I guess I did that for maybe 10 years. And for a few years, later years, I also did Summer Scene in the summer months with a co-host. Then I became a reporter for news for 3 years. Then I went down to promotions and worked in promotions for a while. And then I was brought back up here to anchor starting in '98, I guess.
1998.
1998. I know, it seems so long ago.
Let's remain in the past for just a moment.
Okay.
Good Company.
Yes.
Why was that so much fun? We actually found some footage from one of the original shows.
Jeepers.
You mentioned that Roberta Bondar was one of the most memorable interviews. Why did you say that?
Yeah, well, oh my gosh, look at the hairstyles.
The fashion.
Oh my goodness. Why was she so memorable? Because she was Canada's first female astronaut. And she had some lovely stories to share. She said when she was a child, she used to look out of her bedroom window at night up at the stars and say, one of these days, I'm going to get there.
Oh.
Yeah. And she told me when she got back to Earth, she was taller and she didn't need her glasses.
Oh my gosh, okay, send me off to space then.
And the person who escorted her up from the public relations company was my phys ed teacher in junior high school.
Talk about 3 degrees of separation, not even.
I know.
Expanding on Bob and the relationship that you had with him,
Yeah.
I find that the longer we work with our colleagues, they eventually become friends. They add so much to the position. What did Bob mean to you?
It was like family. We all became like family, especially Bob, because he brought me along. He, as I say, he interviewed me. He did the on-camera audition with me. He worked with me before I even went on the air. And I think everyone who's worked with Bob has a fond memory of Bob. I remember him being so proud of the time. Well, he loved to fly. People know he was a pilot. And he used to fly the Tiger Moth, a World War II plane. And he was so proud of the time he got a shout out from Chris Hadfield, astronaut Chris Hadfield, for the time he landed the Tiger Moth in a bean field after both engines conked out. With hardly a scratch on the plane or himself or the person he had as a passenger. And he had to go to a farmer's house and knock on the door and say, "Excuse me, I just landed in your bean field."
Forgive me, but it's really good news.
And they were like, "Bob McIntyre, the weatherman, what are you doing here?"
Well, in talking about his love of flying, we dug up something special. So this is a report that you threw to 12 years ago. Let's take a look.
It's the plane that first inspired Bob to take up flying, and tonight he's taking us all for a ride.
I had a chance to come and fly in the Tiger Moth that I actually fly right now. I flew with a man by the name of Brian Hope, and we had a great flight, and we got down, and Brian said to me, he said, "Well, how'd you like that?" And I said, "That was the greatest darn thing. That was absolutely fabulous." And he said, "You know what? You get your license, and we'll let you fly this." And I said, "You're on."
Throttle is back, fuel is on, switches are on. There.
This plane was built in 1943 in Britain. We only take off and land on grass airstrips because that's the way they did originally. Tiger Moths like this have been around since the 1930s, but they were mainly used as training planes in World War II. They were designed to teach you how to fly, and how to fly well. Taking off is pure joy. The engine's going full blast, the wind smacking you in the face. You're ripping down the runway, and I swear you can hear the theme from the Indiana Jones movies. We call this plane a time machine. As you climb, the years drift away, and looking out over Georgian Bay, it seems like it really could be 1942. When I'm flying, I feel somehow close to those pilots during the war. My dad was a flight instructor during the war. He logged lots of hours in the Harvard, but he had a big soft spot for the Tiger Moth. Watching what the farmers are doing is always a treat. And of course, Mother Nature is always delivering eye candy. It's not easy to land a plane with no brakes. There are so many steps coming down. You do have to keep your wits about you. Get on the glide speed, trim, line up the runway, side slip off the extra height, drop the airspeed, flare. Stick right back, work the rudder, work the tail skid. Roll to a stop. If you told me when I was 50 that at the age of 70 I'd be flying a World War II open cockpit biplane, I'd have laughed. I always wanted to fly an airplane, and I've gotten to do that. This is pretty neat. I cannot say enough about my life. I have been so blessed with everything that I've been able to do.
So Jane, what did you feel seeing that?
Oh, I got emotional. That was just lovely. You know, Bob had 3 loves: Darlene, his wife, flying, and us, and what he did here at the TV station. He loved being a weatherman. He loved meeting people in the community. Those were his 3 loves, and we loved him.
Why don't we end on a bit of a personal note? We know we did lose Bob in 2016 to cancer. When you made the announcement that you, in fact, were going through that journey, what did the response from the audience mean to you?
It was overwhelming. I thought, oh, I'll get a couple of get well cards. No, I had boxes and boxes of get well cards. I had thousands of emails and messages, tens of thousands actually. And it just gave me so much strength, and it made me feel so good. It meant the world to me. It really did. And to this day, I'll be out in public and people will say to me, how are you feeling? How are you? And I say, I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. You know, they remember that. So I think when someone's going through a tough time, the more support you have and the more people who care, it means the world. It gives you strength.
Well, thank you on behalf of all of our audience for being such an icon. And to me, thank you for being such a fantastic mentor. You still take the time for those of us that are coming through the ranks, and that just means so much.
Well, the station is very lucky to have you, Sarah.
Thanks.
You do a great job, and I hope that your career is as long and as fulfilling as mine.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and pull up the website, because we have a number of different interviews and ways that we've been covering the 70th anniversary of CKVR. It's ctvnews.ca/Barrie. And we are going to keep those celebrations rolling. In a few moments, we'll have a message from a former Barrie anchor whom you now see on national news. That's in just a few, but first let's check in with Case.
You know, when CKVR television started up, the hot promotional item, t-shirts, hats, how about a beautiful ashtray? Yeah, there it is right there. Well, you have to have somewhere to park your butt, right? Well, there it is. And this is a beauty. Speaking of beauty, our weather watcher artiste, well, have a look here. Ryder says, the leaves turning and falling. This is my favorite time of year. Well done. You're watching CTV News Barrie.
Hi there, it's Heather Butts from CTV National News, wishing everyone at the station and in the community a very happy anniversary. 70 incredible years. I loved my time working at the station and living in the community, and I still feel very connected to the people and places in the region. What stands out to me is the kindness and compassion shared by the people who live there. Everyone is so willing to help support each other and maintain those strong community bonds. You also realize the importance of local news, and so do the people who work hard to cover the stories that matter most to you. It was an honor to be a reporter and anchor for CTV Barrie, the station at the top of the hill. I'm grateful for my colleagues and the valuable lessons I learned during my time there. Congratulations on 70 years.
My cat once singed his fur sitting too close to the heater. Thank you, everyone. We are celebrating cozy captures this week, so whether that's fuzzy blankets, crackling bonfires, if it feels like a warm hug, send our way. Picture this at CTV.ca. Casey Colby, let's head outside. I was very impressed that you dug up the ashtray, but look what I came across. A new VR mug, and it's in such pristine condition, I don't even think I'm going to use it.
Ah, well done, Sarah. Very well done. Yeah, you hang on to that. Very hot item, very hot item. People love the collectibles, that is for sure. They love to hang on to them with fond memories, kind of like the summer we had, you'd say, and kind of like the autumn we're enjoying right now. Let's continue our look at the forecast. And here we go, taking a look at the forecast, starting with the temperature outside your door as we speak. 14 degrees is a cool spot. Well, it's always cool in Owen Sound in more ways than one. Lovely. Newmarket looks like 15 degrees, holding 19 degrees in the Sunshine City of Aurelia. 18 in Gravenhurst and 18 up Perry Soundway. This is the almanac for today. 17 and 5, that's the high, that's the low. A record 28.5, not that long ago, 2019. Record heat. We'll be there again, he says. Minus 2.2 in 1956 for record cool. Sunrise. Sunset, 11 hours and 38 minutes of daylight. Let's take a look at the forecast radar. And as we take a look at the forecast radar, a couple of clouds. Yeah, there's a few clouds wandering in. Still get to see a million stars this evening if you decide to go for a little stroll. Not a bad idea. Wear a jacket. Light jacket is a Very, very good idea. This is the southern tip of Georgian Bay, Lake Simcoe, overnight. 6 and 7 degrees under clear skies. And then for tomorrow, well, how about 20 degrees and mainly sunny skies? Yeah. Bit of the sun run, yeah, it really does continue. Orangeville, Bradford, Georgina, Newmarket, Richmond Hill, 6 and 9 degrees overnight. Clear skies is what we have to look forward to, or relatively clear skies. And 20 degrees tomorrow, mainly sunny skies for us to enjoy. Oh, and we will. Parry Sound, Huntsville, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Halliburton, 5 degrees for the overnight low. There's a few clouds in the region. There is, right across our gorgeous area. 19, make it 18, 19 and 20 degrees. 18 in Halliburton for tomorrow is what we have to look forward to. I breezed over pretty quick that 1 degree in Halliburton, didn't I? Yes, for the overnight low and mainly sunny tomorrow. Let's continue on right now. That's tonight and tomorrow. Let's talk about the Diamond and Diamond Lawyers 5-day extended forecast. And let's talk about Simcoe County up first. And the sun, well, certainly Friday, 25 degrees. 28 degrees on Saturday for Simcoe County. Yes, that's getting around record temperature, ladies and gentlemen. 27 and sunny skies on Sunday, and sun and cloud looks like 26 on Monday. Warming up. 5-day extended forecast. Here we go for York Region, and sunny skies on Friday, 25, 26 and sun and cloud for Saturday. Sunday looks gorgeous at 27. Do it again? Yeah, let's do it again on Monday. We'll throw in a couple clouds too to make it spicy. How about the 5-day extended forecast? Muskoka, Parry Sound, Halliburton. And it looks like 24 and sunny to start your weekend. Northern part of our viewing area, sun and cloud on Saturday, 26 degrees, 27 on Sunday, solid sunshine and sun and cloud, and a slight chance of a shower. We haven't said this in a while. Slight chance of a shower come Monday, and 24 degrees. So the temperature, we're getting warmer, Sarah. And the sun run, it just continues and continues and continues. Back inside.
Love that. And with those sunny skies sticking around, it's shaping up to be a great weekend to get out and enjoy some local events. Here's Bounce 104 morning show host Martin Van Coy with your weekend event listings.
Hi, I'm Martin Van Coy for Bounce Radio, and these are your weekend events for Pure Country 106 and Bounce 104.1. Kicking things off this weekend is the start of Pumpkinferno at Discovery Harbour in Penetanguishene. You can enjoy hundreds of outdoor exhibits with over 5,000 artificial hand-carved pumpkins. You can also check out the Grim Reaper's Grove, where zombies, clowns, and witches lurk in the shadows. You can learn all about that spooky time at discoveryharbour.on.ca. From haunted houses to fancy ones, this weekend is also the annual Showcase of Homes tour for Big Brothers Big Sisters of North Simcoe. The self-directed tours will take place on Saturday, October 4th, and feature 5 beautiful homes. Tickets are just $50 and can be purchased at Big Brothers Big Sisters North Simcoe office. Each ticket even comes with a $10 food voucher for a local business. Learn more at northsimcoe.bigbrothersbigsisters.ca. Also this weekend is the Bay Studio Tour, an invite for you to explore the vibrant artistic communities of Penetanguishene, Tiny, and the surrounding Georgian Bay area. It's going to feature 30 local and guest artists across 20 studios and gallery locations. It's a unique opportunity to meet artists and explore their spaces. You can learn more at thebaystudiotour.com. Last but not least, this weekend, starting this Friday, is the kickoff for the Aurelia Fall Fair. From the 3rd to the 5th, you can see it all at Otis Park. There's going to be tractor pulls, demolition derbies, animal shows and exhibits, midway games, live entertainment, vendor markets, and so much more. Scales Nature Park is also going to be there, so you can get hands-on with some pretty cool animals. To learn all about this action-packed weekend, you can go to AureliaFallFair.com. Those are your weekend events for Bounce 104.1 and Pure Country 106.
Next on CTV Barrie, Air Canada is now serving up a little extra comfort for its passengers. Why? You can now enjoy free drinks on board. Plus, we'll recap tonight's top stories. But first, a 70th anniversary message from RVH President Gail Hunt.
Hi, CTV. It's Gail Hunt, President and CEO of RVH. Congratulations on 70 amazing years of keeping our community informed and me on my toes. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you in the studio soon.
Recapping our top stories, as the city of Barrie continues to grow, officials are working to expand city limits, attempting to acquire 4,300 acres of land, with most of it coming from Springwater Township. The county of Simcoe is concerned it may take future profit away from the area. And that boundary review will be on the Barrie City Council agenda tonight, as the city is looking to pick up parts of Springwater and Oromadante. Barrie is also looking at applying to have the costs from this past year's devastating ice storm covered under provincial assistance. And more than 800 students from Muskoka got an up-close look at the Toronto Maple Leafs practice at the Muskoka Lumber Community Centre in Bracebridge. The Leafs have spent the last 2 days in the arena, part practice, part team bonding, but today it was all about the fans. Canada's main stock index hit record territory earlier today, boosted by gains in the tech sector, but south of the border, U.S. markets are seeing a mixed day. Let's take a live look at the markets now. The TSX was up 84 points, the Dow was up 43, and the Nasdaq was up 95, and commodities oil was down to close at $61.78 a barrel. Gold was up to finish at $33.89 an ounce, and our dollar down to end the day, ending at 71.74 cents U.S. In other business news, starting today, Air Canada passengers can get free drinks on some flights. Customers on nearly all routes, including those to Mexico and the Caribbean, can now enjoy complimentary beer, wine, and Canadian-made snacks. In addition, the airline has also upgraded its mobile app, expanded in-flight entertainment, and refreshed its airport lounges. Still to come, Blue Jays fans, do get ready. Playoff tickets are officially on sale. How you can snag your seat for October baseball. But first, why don't we continue our 70th anniversary celebration?
Hi, I'm Doug Shipley, Member of Parliament for Barrie, Springwater, Oromadante. Happy 70th anniversary, CKVR or CTV Barrie. Great memories. I've lived in this area my whole life. I remember watching the Barrie Tornado News in 1985 on CKVR. I also remember Bob in his garden. Bob McIntyre always brought accurate, informative, and fun weather forecasts. But I have to be honest, one of my best memories of CKVR was walking home for lunch and watching Leave It to Beaver every day at noon on CKVR. Happy 70th anniversary, CKVR.
Here's a look at your Wednesday night primetime lineup. The Rookie is at 8 and 9 p.m., followed by Shark Tank at 10 and CTV News Barrie at 11. For a fifth straight year, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the NHL's most valuable franchise. According to Sportico, the team is worth $4.25 billion, a 16% increase from last year. The average NHL team value is about $2.1 billion. The New York Rangers are second, and the Montreal Canadiens are third. The Toronto Blue Jays are looking to stay fresh as they await their opponent.
It won't look like a real game per se, you know what I mean? Guys, if they hit their pitch count and they're good, we're going to take them off the mound and things like that. There's going to be some guys playing defense more than they're hitting. But I think we're doing everything when it comes to kind of the atmosphere and the routine of it as closely as we can to a game.
The team is taking part in 2 informal scrimmages, including players from the AAA Buffalo Bisons. The first was held today, and the next intra-squad game will be tomorrow. Now, if you are planning a road trip to watch the playoffs, don't get your hopes up. Tickets are currently available on Ticketmaster, but they're pricey. And here's the kicker. You have to be a resident of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or Connecticut to actually purchase a ticket. Casey Colby, I have to admit, I have been having so much fun reminiscing about the 7 years of CKVR.
Lots of fun, yeah, lots of memories, lots of good times. And that's cameraman Davey Dahl out here, and that's all we're talking about the whole time. So bringing up great memories. Dave's been here for a long time, too. So shout out to all those people behind the scenes that don't get their opportunity to say hello and share their memories as to what a wonderful place and wonderful memories that they experience.
Well
Let's
said.
talk about the weather. Let's talk about the Get Up and Go forecast. Yeah, here it is. Get up and go. First thing tomorrow morning. Sunny cloud across the board. 7 in Barrie, 7 in Newmarket, and a chilly 4 degrees in Gravenhurst tomorrow. Have yourself a wonderful evening and a wonderful tomorrow, Sarah.
And that is where we will leave things on this Wednesday night. I'm Sarah Freemark. Thanks so much for being here with me and the rest of the team. And of course, we will continue to celebrate 70 years of CKVR tomorrow. Hope to see you at 6.